The old rental house made sounds at night like it was breathing. Pipes clicked. The ceiling sighed. The wind pushed at the window frames. Mina always told herself it was normal, because a single mother did not have the luxury of being scared of every creak. But her dog Bruno did not bark at pipes. That night, Bruno started at the bottom of the attic stairs, staring up like something up there had called his name. His ears were stiff. His tail stayed low. Then he barked again, sharp and angry, and scratched at the attic door as if it was on fire. Mina was at the kitchen sink, washing a cup that had already been washed. It was her habit when her mind would not slow down. The house was quiet except for Bruno, and the quiet felt heavy. "Bruno, stop," she said, trying to sound calm. "You are going to wake Sammy." Sammy was her 7-year-old son, asleep in the next room with his school uniform laid out for morning. Mina had finally gotten him to sleep after he asked the same question 3 times, the question he asked whenever life felt uncertain. "Are we safe here?" Mina dried her hands, walked to the hallway, and looked at Bruno. He kept barking at the attic door, not at Mina, not at the hallway, only at that one spot above them. The attic entrance was a square panel in the ceiling with a pull string. Mina had never been up there. The landlord said it was just insulation and old boxes, nothing important, and Mina had believed him. She did not want another problem. "Come here," she told Bruno. Bruno did not move. His nails tapped the wood floor. His chest rose fast. His eyes looked bright and wet like he was not sure if he should run or fight. Mina's stomach tightened. She hated that feeling, the one that came before bad news. She had felt it when her rent went up. She had felt it when her job cut hours. She had felt it when Sammy came home quiet and would not say what happened at school. Tonight that feeling returned, and it made her angry. "Not now. Please not now." She took a deep breath, stepped under the attic door, and stared at the thin pull string hanging down. Bruno barked louder the moment she reached for it. "Enough," Mina whispered, more to herself than to the dog. "It is probably a mouse." She pulled the string. The attic panel shifted down with a soft crack, like a lid being opened after years. Dust fell on Mina's hair and shoulders. The smell that came out was not like dust. It was cold air with something sour in it, like wet wood and old metal, like a forgotten room. Bruno stopped barking for 1 second. Then he growled. Mina froze. A growl from Bruno was rare. He was a gentle dog, the kind that let Sammy dress him in a superhero cape and did not care. He had never growled in this house. Mina tried to laugh, because laughing made fear smaller. "Okay," she said, her voice shaking. "Okay, Bruno. I will check." She pulled the fold-down ladder. It opened with a slow groan, 1 step at a time, like it did not want to wake up. Mina looked over her shoulder toward Sammy's room. The door was closed. No movement. No sound. She could walk away. She could push the ladder back up and pretend she never touched it. But Bruno kept looking up, and Mina could not ignore that. She remembered something her mother used to say back when Mina was a child. "When an animal warns you, listen. They feel what you do not." Mina reached into the closet, grabbed a small flashlight, and turned it on. The beam made a clean circle on the ceiling. She put her foot on the first ladder step. Bruno moved closer to her leg, pressed his body against her like a shield. "You stay here," Mina told him softly. "You do not go up. Understand?" Bruno did not understand, or he did and he did not care. He stayed, but his eyes followed her. Mina climbed slowly, each step making the ladder creak. The attic opening framed a rectangle of darkness above her head. When she reached the top, she lifted the flashlight. The beam hit a row of cardboard boxes at first. Some were crushed. Some were damp. A few had old labels with faded marker. Mina saw one that said winter coats. Another said books. Normal attic things. Her heart tried to settle. Then the light moved, and Mina saw something that did not belong. A thick rope stretched across a wooden beam. From the rope hung a set of small bells, like the bells people put on a door, only these bells were old and blackened, tied in a careful pattern. Not decorative. Not random. It looked like a trap. Mina swallowed. She lifted the flashlight higher and stepped into the attic. The attic floor was made of boards that felt thin under her weight. She kept her feet near the beam lines, the places that looked stronger. The air was colder here, like the attic had its own weather. Dust floated in the flashlight beam like tiny insects. She took another step. The light swept across the attic wall, and Mina's breath caught. There were marks. Not just scratches. Not just stains. There were lines carved into the wood, repeated over and over, like someone had counted days with a blade. Some lines were deep. Some were light. Some were fresh enough to look pale. Mina felt her mouth go dry. Who would do that? She tried to tell herself it was from the house being old, from workers, from moving boxes, from anything normal. But deep inside she knew it was not normal. Bruno barked below, one bark, a warning. Mina whispered, "I see it," even though Bruno could not understand. Then she heard a sound that made her whole body stiff. A tap. Not from the ladder. Not from below. It came from the far side of the attic, near the corner where the roof sloped down. Mina stood still, listening. The attic held its breath. Tap. A small sound, like a fingernail on wood. Mina aimed the flashlight toward it. The beam moved over boxes, a rolled-up rug, a broken chair, and then stopped at something half-hidden behind a sheet of plastic. It was a door. Not the attic opening. A different door, small, almost like a closet door built into the far wall. Mina had not noticed it before because the roof angle made that corner dark. Her thoughts raced. Why is there a door inside the attic? She took a step closer. The boards creaked. Tap, tap. The sound came again, and this time Mina realized what it reminded her of. A child tapping a pencil on a desk, bored, waiting. Mina's throat tightened. She aimed the flashlight at the door handle. The handle was metal, but it was wrapped with tape. New tape. Gray tape, layered again and again, like someone had sealed the door. Mina's hands went cold. Her ears rang slightly. She backed up one step, then another, and forced herself to breathe. This is not my business, she thought. Call someone. Call the landlord. Call the police. Go back down. But then she remembered Sammy. What if whatever is sealed in there is dangerous? What if Sammy ever finds this ladder and comes up alone? The thought made Mina's fear turn into something sharp. Mina moved forward again, careful, quiet, the way she used to walk when Sammy was sick and finally asleep. She stopped in front of the taped door. The tape had fingerprints in it. Smudges. It looked handled recently. Mina raised the flashlight to see if there was a lock. There was no lock. Just tape, and the cheap metal handle. Another tap came, very close now. It came from the other side of the door. Mina's knees felt weak. "Hello," she whispered before she could stop herself. Silence. Then, very softly, a sound like a breath. Mina's heart pounded so loud she thought it would wake Sammy downstairs. Bruno barked again, harder, like he was begging her to stop. Mina whispered, "Who is there?" The attic stayed quiet for 2 long seconds. Then a voice came through the door, so faint Mina almost thought she imagined it. "Please." It was a child's voice. Mina's hand flew to her mouth. Tears stung her eyes without warning, not because she was sad but because her mind could not accept what her ears heard. No. There cannot be a child in here. She stepped back, then stepped forward again like her feet did not know what to do. "Who are you?" Mina whispered. "Are you hurt?" The voice came again, a little stronger, like whoever it was had pressed closer. "Do not open." Mina's skin prickled. That was not what a trapped child would say. "Why?" Mina asked. A pause. Then the voice answered, careful, slow, like it was choosing words. "He listens." Mina's eyes darted around the attic. She shined the flashlight across the beams, the boxes, the rope and bells, the carved lines. Everything looked still. Empty. But the voice said he listens, like someone else could be near. Like someone could hear through walls. Mina's mind flashed to the landlord. A man with polite smiles. A man who always came too quickly when Mina complained about a leak. A man who always asked too many questions about her schedule. Mina felt sick. She stepped back from the door, trying to calm her breathing. Her hand shook around the flashlight. She forced her brain to think like an adult, like a mother. If there is a child in there, I cannot leave. But if there is someone else, I cannot stay alone. Mina whispered, I am going to get help. The child's voice rushed back, full of panic now. No. He will come. He will lock it. Please. Mina closed her eyes. Her chest hurt. Her mind fought itself. If she called the police from downstairs, it could take time. If the landlord was involved, he might come first. If Mina stayed here, she might be trapped too. If she ran with Sammy and left, what happens to the voice behind this door? Mina opened her eyes and stared at the tape. In the flashlight beam, she noticed something small stuck under one edge. A piece of paper. It looked like it had been pushed out and caught in the tape. Mina leaned closer and carefully peeled one corner of tape, just enough to pull the paper without tearing it. Her fingers trembled as she slid it free. It was a child's drawing. A simple stick figure house. A stick figure woman. A smaller stick figure child. A dog with a big tail. Under the drawing, in messy letters, it said, If you see this, please say where you are from so I know the world is real. Mina stared at the words until the letters blurred. A chill ran through her whole body because the message felt like it was meant for anyone, not just Mina. Like the child had no idea who might find it. Like the child needed proof that people existed beyond this attic. Mina swallowed hard and whispered toward the door, My name is Mina. I live here with my son. What is your name? A small sound came through the door. A shaky breath. Then the child said, Noor. Mina's eyes filled with tears. Noor. Mina repeated softly. Listen to me. I am going to help you. No, Noor said quickly. Do not open. He put bells. Mina glanced at the rope with bells. Her stomach dropped. If she opened the door, the bells might ring. If the bells ring, someone will know. Noor was right. Mina backed away slowly and looked around. She needed another way. A quiet way. She spotted a loose board near the base of the sloped wall, not far from the taped door. The board looked newer than the others, like it had been placed to cover something. Mina crouched and pressed it with her hand. It moved slightly. Bruno barked below again, then started whining, a desperate sound. Mina whispered, I know, Bruno. I know. She worked her fingers under the board carefully and lifted it. Under it was a small gap into the space between the attic and the roof. Mina shined the flashlight inside. She saw something that made her blood turn cold. A second rope, hidden, leading down through a hole in the ceiling, disappearing toward the rooms below. Like a signal line. Like a pull cord. Like someone could pull it from downstairs to make the bells ring up here. Mina's mind snapped into a clear, terrifying picture. Someone did not just seal this door. Someone built a warning system. Someone planned for someone to come up here. Mina could not breathe for a moment. She imagined waking in the night to a quiet pull on a rope, and the attic bells ringing softly, telling someone that Mina was up here. Mina stood up fast, almost losing her balance. She turned toward the ladder, ready to get down, ready to grab Sammy, ready to run out of the house and call for help from a safe place. Then she heard Noor again, but this time the voice was not near the door. It was inside the attic, behind Mina. Mina's body locked. The flashlight beam trembled in her hand as she turned slowly. The attic looked the same, but the air felt different, like someone had stepped into it. Noor whispered, very close now. He is here. Mina did not see anyone, but she heard the softest sound, the kind a careful person makes. A slow inhale. Right above the attic opening. Right where the ladder was. Mina lifted the flashlight, and the beam landed on a pair of shoes. A man's shoes, dusty, planted on the boards near the attic entrance, blocking the way down. Mina's heart crashed against her ribs. The flashlight moved higher, shaking, and the beam climbed up dark pants, a jacket, and then stopped at a face half hidden by the attic shadow. A calm face. A familiar face. The landlord. He looked down at Mina and smiled like he was greeting a guest. "Mina," he said softly, almost kindly. "I was wondering when you would finally come up." Mina's legs felt like water. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Below them, Bruno was barking like he wanted to break the whole house apart. The landlord tilted his head, listening to the barking like it was music. Then he said, "You should have listened to your dog." Mina gripped the flashlight with both hands like it could protect her, and in that moment she realized the worst part. The ladder was still open. Sammy could wake up. Sammy could come out. And if Sammy saw the ladder, he might climb. Mina's fear turned into pure fire. She took one step back, her eyes locked on the landlord, and she made a silent promise. "No matter what happens to me, Sammy will not come up here." Mina's mind moved fast, but her body felt trapped in slow motion. The landlord stood near the attic, opening like a guard. The ladder behind him was the only clear way down. The flashlight in Mina's hands shook so much the beam jumped across his face and the dusty beams above. He did not rush. That made it worse. He raised one finger to his lips, telling her to be quiet, as if the house was a library and Mina was the one making trouble. His eyes shifted toward the floor below, toward the hallway where Sammy slept. "Your son is a light sleeper," he murmured. "You have to be careful." Mina's stomach dropped. He knew Sammy's name. Of course he did. He was the landlord. But hearing him speak about Sammy in this place, next to that taped door, turned the simple fact into something ugly. Mina tried to keep her voice steady. "Why are you here?" The landlord smiled gently, like Mina had asked about the weather. "I live here too, in a way. This house is mine. Every corner." Behind Mina, Noor's voice whispered again, soft and shaking. "Do not talk. Do not look at him." Mina did not turn her head. She did not want to lose sight of the man blocking the ladder. She swallowed and forced herself to speak anyway. "There is a child," Mina said. "I heard her. You cannot do this." The landlord's smile stayed, but his eyes changed. They narrowed slightly, like a mask slipping. "You heard what you wanted to hear," he said. "People hear things when they are tired, when they are alone, when they are scared." Mina tightened her grip on the flashlight. She could not let him pull the conversation into confusion. She had learned something from being a single mother. When someone tries to make you doubt what you saw, you hold your ground. "I saw the tape. I saw the lines on the wall. I saw the rope and bells," Mina said. "And I found Noor's drawing." At the name Noor, the landlord's calm face twitched for a moment. It was small, but Mina caught it. So Noor was real. Mina's heart pounded. She took a slow step sideways, pretending she was only trying to steady herself, but really she was moving closer to the corner where she had seen the loose board. The hidden rope line. The hole in the ceiling. If she could pull it or cut it, maybe the bells would not signal him. Maybe she could open the taped door without noise. Maybe she could get Noor out. The landlord noticed the movement. His foot shifted, and the boards creaked under him. "No," he said softly. The softness carried a warning. "You are not going to touch anything." Mina forced a small laugh to hide her panic. "Why? Are you scared people will find out?" He leaned down slightly, like he was talking to a child. "People only see what I allow them to see." Bruno barked below again, furious and desperate, like he was trying to claw through the ceiling. Mina's mind flashed with an image of Sammy waking up, hearing Bruno, opening his door. Mina could not wait. She had to act now. She lifted the flashlight beam straight into the landlord's eyes. He flinched. It was a tiny opening, but it was enough. Mina lunged toward the ladder, pushing forward with everything she had. She expected him to grab her, to pull her back. Instead he stepped aside at the last second, like he had predicted her move. Mina's foot hit the top ladder rung. She reached down, trying to climb fast, but the landlord grabbed the ladder frame and yanked it sideways. The ladder swayed. Mina almost fell. She caught herself with both hands, her fingers burning as they slid on the dusty metal. "Careful," the landlord said, almost amused. "That would be a shame. For your son." That sentence hit Mina like ice water. He was not just threatening Mina. He was reminding her that Sammy existed, that Sammy was below, that Sammy was reachable. Mina climbed down 2 steps quickly and then froze. If she went down, he could follow. If she stayed up, Sammy might come up. Either choice felt wrong. Then Mina saw something on the floor near the ladder base. A small tool bag. It was not hers. A torn canvas bag with a zipper half open, sitting like it had been placed there on purpose. Mina's eyes darted to the landlord's hands. He had no tools on him. The bag was his. Inside the open zipper, Mina saw the shape of a box cutter handle. Her heart kicked. Mina moved without thinking. She kicked the bag hard, sending it sliding across the attic boards toward the sloped corner. The landlord's eyes snapped to it. His calm broke for 1 second. No. Mina used that second. She jumped off the ladder top and ran toward the bag, her feet slipping on dust. The attic boards creaked loudly, but Mina did not care anymore. Quiet was gone. The danger was already here. She grabbed the bag, tore it open, and found the box cutter. Her hands shook so badly she almost dropped it. The landlord stepped forward, faster now, the mask fully gone. His voice sharpened. "Put that down." Mina backed away with the cutter in her hand, holding it out like a warning. She hated weapons. She hated even holding something sharp. But she hated the fear even more. "Stay back," she whispered. The landlord stopped 2 steps away. His eyes flicked from the cutter to the ladder and back. He measured the space like a chess player. Mina realized he was not panicking. He was calculating. That scared her more than anger would have. Behind her, Noor whispered, trembling. "He will try to make you drop it. Do not." Mina's breath came in short pulls. "Noor," she said, still not looking away from the landlord. "Where are you?" Noor's voice came from the taped door, but it sounded weak, like Noor was pressing her face against it. "Here." Mina's eyes watered. "Are you hurt?" Noor paused. Not yet." Mina felt her throat close. The landlord chuckled. "Talking to the walls now. You really are tired." Mina pointed the cutter toward him. "Stop. Just stop. I am leaving, and I am calling the police." He shook his head slowly. "And what will you tell them? That you heard a voice in the attic. That you saw tape. That you found a child's drawing. That you got scared." Mina clenched her jaw. "I will tell them I saw you here. Right now. In my attic. And I will say you attacked me," he replied, calm again. "Single mother, stressed, sleep-deprived. I will show them the cutter. I will show them the ladder. I will say you broke into my storage space." Mina felt the trap closing. He had words ready. He had a story ready. Mina realized he did this with stories. He controlled stories. He controlled what people believed. Mina's mind flashed back to the day she signed the lease. The landlord had been friendly. He talked about safety. He talked about the neighborhood. He said he was careful about tenants, because he did not want trouble. Mina had thought that meant he protected the place. Now she understood. He protected himself. Mina's eyes darted to the rope and bells above the attic opening. She remembered the hidden rope line she had seen through the loose board. A signal system. A trap for anyone who came. She had to break the system. She had to make noise that brought outside eyes. Suddenly Mina knew what to do. She lifted her voice, not yelling, but loud enough to carry down the open attic ladder. "Bruno!" she shouted. "Go get Sammy." It was a wild risk. Mina did not even know if Bruno would understand. But Bruno was smart. Bruno protected Sammy. Bruno loved Sammy like family. Below, the barking stopped for half a second. Then Mina heard paws scrambling on the floor, fast steps, then a thump against a door. Sammy's door. Mina's breath caught. The landlord's face changed. Pure irritation. He moved toward the ladder, but Mina swung the cutter in front of him, forcing him back one step. "Do not," Mina warned, voice shaking. "Do not go down there." The landlord's eyes hardened. "You have no idea what you are doing." "I know exactly what I am doing," Mina whispered. "I am making sure you cannot keep this secret." She took the cutter and slashed at the rope that held the bells. The first cut did not break it. The rope was thick. The landlord lunged, grabbing Mina's wrist. Mina cried out and twisted, using her whole body to pull away. The cutter sliced across the rope again. This time the rope snapped. The bells fell. They hit the attic boards and rang out loud, a sharp chaotic jingle that cut through the whole house. The sound bounced down the stairs, into the hallway, into the rooms. Mina felt a strange relief. Loud meant witnesses. Loud meant attention. Below, Bruno barked again, and now it sounded like barking at a stranger, not barking at the attic door. Mina heard another sound too. A small voice from below. "Mama." Sammy was awake. Mina's eyes filled with tears. "Sammy, stay in your room," she shouted down. "Lock the door. Do not come out." Sammy's voice trembled. He is at the front door." The landlord's grip tightened on Mina's wrist. He leaned close, his voice low and poisonous. "You just ruined everything." Mina yanked her arm free, pain shooting up her hand. She stepped back, keeping the cutter between them. Her body shook, but her mind stayed sharp. "Good," Mina said. "Because I am not dying in your story." Noor's voice behind the taped door whispered, urgent. "The other way. The board. The board." Mina remembered. The loose board. The hidden rope line. The hole in the ceiling. If that rope connected to something downstairs, maybe to a bell, maybe to a latch, maybe to a lock, Mina could use it. She could pull it hard, break it, make something fall, create chaos. Mina rushed to the loose board and ripped it up. Splinters cut her fingers. She did not care. She reached into the gap and grabbed the hidden rope line. It felt like thick cord, tied tight. The landlord rushed toward her. Mina pulled the rope with all her strength. Something below clanged. Then another sound, louder. A heavy thud, like something falling against wood. Downstairs, Sammy screamed. "Mama, the front door," Sammy yelled. It opened. Mina's blood turned cold. She yanked the rope again. The landlord grabbed her shoulders and tried to slam her against the attic beam. Mina twisted and the flashlight fell, rolling away. Darkness swallowed the attic except for moonlight through a small vent. Mina swung her elbow back and hit the landlord in the ribs. He grunted but did not let go. He was stronger than Mina. Mina felt herself losing. Then Bruno's barking exploded from below, right at the bottom of the ladder. Bruno was not barking like a dog warning. Bruno was barking like a dog attacking. The landlord froze, listening, and Mina used that pause. She pushed him hard, stumbled toward the taped door, and pressed her ear to it. "Noor," she whispered quickly. "Listen. When I tell you, I need you to scream. As loud as you can. Understand?" Noor's breathing was fast. "Yes." Mina turned toward the ladder. "Sammy," she shouted down. "Are you safe?" Sammy's voice came broken. I locked the room. Bruno he is fighting at the stairs. Mina's heart ached. She wanted to run down and hold her son. But she could not leave she could not leave this attic. The landlord stepped forward again, slower this time, careful. The bells were on the floor, broken rope hanging like a dead vine. His face looked different now. Angry, but also nervous. The noise had changed the situation. He could not control it anymore. You think barking will save you, he said. Neighbors ignore barking, believe me. Mina's mind raced. What could she do that neighbors could not ignore? Then she remembered the drawing. The message. If you see this, please say where you are from so I know the world is real. It was a comment bait. A desperate one. Mina realized she could turn this into a beacon for people outside. She could force the world to look. She could turn the story outward. Mina pulled out her phone with shaking hands. The screen lit her face. Her battery was low, but it was enough. The landlord's eyes widened. Put the phone away. Mina opened her camera and hit record. She aimed it at the attic, at the taped door, at the carved lines. Her voice shook, but she spoke clearly. My name is Mina. I am in the attic of my rental house. There is a child behind this door. If anything happens to me, this is proof. The landlord moved fast, trying to grab the phone. Mina backed away and raised her voice, loud enough for downstairs. Sammy, Mina yelled, call emergency now. Noor, hearing the panic, began to cry behind the door. The landlord snarled, reaching for Mina again. Mina screamed toward the taped door. Noor now. Noor screamed. It was a raw sound. A child's scream that did not belong in an attic. It cut through everything like a knife. For a second, the landlord froze like the scream struck him physically. And downstairs, a new sound answered. A loud pounding on the front door. Not from inside. From outside. A neighbor. Someone had heard. A man's voice shouted from below. Choi. Is everything okay in there? Mina's knees almost gave out from relief. She looked at the landlord. His eyes darted. He realized the same thing Mina did. He was losing. But dangerous people are most dangerous when they are losing. He stepped toward Mina, and Mina lifted the cutter again, her hands trembling but firm. Back, she warned. He smiled again, but the smile was wrong now. You opened the attic, Mina. You were curious. People get hurt when they are curious. Mina's voice came out steady despite her fear. People get saved when they stop staying quiet. Downstairs, the pounding grew louder. Bruno barked hard. Sammy cried. The neighbor shouted again. Another voice joined, a woman this time. Mina held the phone recording, held the cutter, and stood between the landlord and the ladder like a wall. Then the landlord did something Mina did not expect. He raised his hands slowly, like he was surrendering. I am leaving, he said softly. You can all calm down. Mina did not trust it. Not for 1 second. He took 1 step back. Then, another. His eyes were not on Mina. They were on the attic opening. On the ladder. On escape. Mina realized his plan too late. He was going to go down and disappear before anyone could see him. Mina's heart slammed. She shouted down, do not open the door. Stay locked. But the neighbor downstairs was still pounding and talking, and in the chaos, Mina heard the front door open. Someone had gotten inside the house. Mina's fear spiked. If the landlord slipped down now, he could mix with the noise. He could pretend he was helping. He could pretend he was a victim. Mina could not let that happen. She rushed forward and kicked the ladder hard. The ladder swung, not fully closing, but enough that the landlord stumbled. His hand grabbed the attic frame to steady himself. And in that moment, Mina's phone camera caught his face clearly, in the moonlight and the phone glow, along with the attic behind him. Proof. The landlord's eyes met Mina's, and something cold passed between them. "You think a video is enough," he whispered. "Videos disappear." Mina shook her head. "Not if the world shares it." Then she shouted toward the phone, loud and clear, like she was speaking to the audience of a story, like she was speaking to every person who ever ignored a warning. "Where are you watching from, and has your pet ever warned you like this? Comment below." The landlord stared like he could not understand what she was doing. But Mina understood. If this story went out, it would not stay hidden in this attic. Noor's message would reach the world. People would look for Noor. People would ask questions. People would remember. Downstairs, footsteps rushed. Someone called Mina's name. "Mina, where are you?" Mina's eyes filled with tears. Her voice broke. "Up here. In the attic. Do not come up alone. Call the police." The footsteps stopped. The voices lowered. The neighbor sounded scared now. And the landlord, hearing that, stepped back into the shadow, toward the dark corner of the attic. Mina could not see his full face anymore. Only his voice floated out, soft and calm, like a final warning. "If you open that door," he said, "you will learn what real horror is." Mina stood shaking, the cutter in her hand, Noor crying behind the taped door, and strangers below calling for police. She stared at the taped door. Her mind screamed to rip it open. Her heart screamed to save Noor. But the landlord's words sat like poison. What was he hiding behind that door besides Noor? What did he mean by real horror? Mina took one step toward the tape, and the attic vent above them suddenly rattled, as if someone on the roof had moved. Mina looked up, and her blood turned cold again, because she realized the landlord might not be the only one. The attic went quiet in a way that felt wrong. Not the calm kind of quiet. The kind that comes when something dangerous is deciding what to do next. Mina stood frozen with the cutter in her hand. Noor cried softly behind the taped door. The landlord was no longer in front of her. He had melted into the shadow near the sloped roof, close to the rattling vent. Below, the house was loud. Neighbors were talking. Sammy was crying. Bruno was barking. Someone was calling for help on a phone. But up here, in this small dusty space, it felt like time had slowed. The vent rattled again. Mina whispered, "Who else is here?" The landlord did not answer. Then a new sound came. Soft footsteps on the roof. Light but careful. Like someone walking slowly, trying not to make noise. Mina's stomach twisted. There was someone else. Noor whispered, barely breathing. "He brings others sometimes." Mina closed her eyes for half a second. Others. That meant this was bigger than one man. Bigger than one attic. The landlord stepped out of the shadow again. His calm had returned, but now there was a tight edge under it. "You should step away from that door," he said. "You are making this harder than it has to be." Mina shook her head. "Let Noor go. Walk away. It can end now." He smiled in a tired way. "It never ends. You just do not see it." A loud voice echoed from downstairs. "This is the police. Anyone inside the house, come out now." Mina's heart jumped. Relief hit her so fast it almost made her weak. The landlord's eyes changed again. Not anger. Not fear. Something worse. Decision. The vent above them creaked. A hand appeared, fingers curling over the metal edge. Mina gasped. Someone was climbing in. "No," Mina shouted. "No, stop." The landlord rushed toward Mina, not to attack her, but to get past her, toward the taped door. Mina swung the cutter at him. It sliced through the air, missing him by inches. He reached the door and grabbed the taped handle. Noor screamed. Mina ran forward and slammed into the landlord's back. They both fell against the door. The tape ripped. The bells on the floor rang again as they were kicked. The door flew open. Inside was a small space no bigger than a closet. A mattress on the floor. A small lamp. A few clothes. A child sitting against the wall with knees pulled to her chest. Noor. Her eyes were huge. Her face was pale. Her hair was messy and cut uneven. She looked at Mina like she was seeing the sun for the first time. Please, Noor whispered. The landlord tried to close the door, but Mina shoved her shoulder between him and the frame. Pain shot through her arm. No, Mina said. It is over. Above them, the vent burst open and a man dropped into the attic. He was tall. He wore dark clothes. His eyes went straight to Noor. Mina stepped in front of the door without thinking, her body moving on pure instinct. You will not touch her, Mina said. The tall man smirked. You think you can stop this? Below, heavy footsteps rushed up the stairs. Police voices shouted. The landlord's face twisted. You ruined everything. Mina shouted, louder than she ever had in her life. Noor, run. Noor did not hesitate. She darted out of the small room, past Mina, past the tall man, toward the ladder. The tall man lunged, but Mina slammed the cutter into the rope line she had exposed earlier. It snapped again, dropping a piece of wood from the ceiling. The falling would hit the tall man's shoulder, knocking him off balance. Noor reached the ladder and started climbing down. Mama! Sammy cried from below. I am here, Mina shouted. The landlord tried to grab Noor's leg. Mina kicked him with all her strength. He fell back, hitting the attic beam. Police burst into the hallway below. Up here, Mina screamed. The child is coming down. Noor slid down the ladder into a pair of waiting arms. A police officer caught her. The tall man turned and tried to run toward the vent. Another officer climbed the ladder and grabbed him. The landlord scrambled to his feet, but two officers were already coming up. Mina dropped the cutter. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely stand. Mina, a neighbor called from below. Your son is safe. He is with Bruno. Mina let out a sob she had been holding since the moment Bruno first barked. The officers pulled the landlord and the tall man down the ladder in cuffs. Their calm masks were gone. Their secrets were gone. Mina climbed down slowly. Her legs felt weak. Sammy ran to her and hugged her so tight it hurt. Bruno jumped around them, whining and licking. Noor stood nearby, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the world like it was unreal. Mina knelt in front of her. You are safe now. Noor looked at her with wet eyes. Is this real? Mina nodded. Yes. You are not alone anymore. Outside, police cars and lights filled the street. Neighbors watched from porches. Phones were out. People were talking. Mina realized something then. Noor's message had been answered. People saw. People heard. And the secret hidden in that attic was no longer hidden. Mina hugged Sammy and Bruno and looked at Noor. A strange feeling filled her chest. Fear was still there. But hope was stronger. And somewhere out there, people were already sharing the story of a barking dog that saved a life.